Hello there, welcome back to Max's Cards and Dice Dugout. Happy New Year to everyone. This is episode 225, and this first episode of 2026. It's game one of the 1982 World Series between the Milwaukee Brewers and the St. Louis Cardinals. We are using TTBX, which is the expansion kit for time travel baseball. This game one took place on October 12th, 1982, a game in which the Milwaukee Brewers won 10-0 to take a 1-0 series lead. We'll get to the starting lineups, and I'll talk a little bit about the fielding points for the teams, which I didn't do completely correct in the demo game that I played between the Philadelphia Phillies and the New York Mets opening day 1975. But anyway, leading off for the Milwaukee Brewers, third baseman Paul Molitor, batting second Robin Yount, he's at shortstop. Batting third Cecil Cooper, he's at first base. Batting fourth Ted Simmons, he's behind the plate. Batting fifth Ben Ogilvie, he's in left field. Batting sixth Gorman Thomas, he's in center. Batting seventh, Roy Howell, he is the DH. This being an even year, 1982, there were DHs in the World Series, so pitchers didn't bat, and we are using as-played lineups. Batting eighth is right fielder Charlie Moore. Batting ninth is Jim Gantner. He is at second base, and on the mound and pitching for the Brewers is Mike Caldwell. In 1982, he was 17-13 with a 3.91 ERA, 258 innings pitched. For the home team, St. Louis Cardinals, leading off second base Tom Herr. Batting second, left fielder Lonnie Smith. Batting third, first baseman Keith Hernandez. Batting fourth, right fielder George Hendrick. Batting fifth, the DH Gene Tennis. Batting sixth, catcher Darrell Porter. Batting seventh, center fielder David Green. Batting eighth, third baseman Ken Oberkfell. Batting ninth, shortstop Ozzie Smith. Ozzie Smith has a all-time great defender symbol. And on the mound and pitching for the Cardinals is Bob Forsch. In 1982, he was 15-9. He also had one save. He had a 3.48 ERA, 233 innings pitched. And just like his counterpart Caldwell, he will not bat in this game. All right, so I totaled the fielding points for both teams, and one of the things I did incorrectly in the last game, along with totaling the fielding points and adding the ballpark modifier for St. Louis, which is a 5. In that previous game, I only applied that to the home team, but both teams get that modifier to their total fielding score. And you'll see how that works when we face a alert check in the game. So you take the fielding points, also including any star defenders that the team has. You add the ballpark modifier. If one of the teams is on a winning streak, you would add a point for each game in a row they've won. But this, of course, is game one of the series, so that doesn't apply. The Brewers came up with 29 fielding points, the Cardinals with 32. And like I said, when we face an alert check, I'll show you how that works. Okay, so leading things off. Well, before I get to that, red dye and a green dye. The rules for TTBX call for red and white. I like to use red and green to correspond with the color codes on the Downey gamble cards. Anyway, high dye we read first. If the green dye is high, we look at the pitcher's card. The red die is high, we look at the pitcher's card. Green die, we look at the batter's card. Okay, so here we go. Paul Molitor leading things off. And that's a deep fly ball to center field. And David Green's under that, and there is one away. That brings up Shortstop Robin Yount. Pitch from Forsch. That's a sharp ground ball. Hit to second baseman Tom Herr, Keith Hernandez. And that's out number 2. So 2 outs and nobody on. And Cecil Cooper. Brewers first baseman. And that's a 2-out single for Cooper. He hits that ball into right field. George Hendrick gets it in. Cooper's going to hold it first. So a man on first with 2 outs. And former Cardinal catcher Ted Simmons. Pitch. That's another base hit. Cooper could challenge the arm of Lonnie Smith, but he's going to hold up at second base. So it's first and second with 2 outs for the Brewers, and left fielder Ben Ogilvy. The pitch. And this is going to be trouble. We got double sixes. It's coming from the pitcher's card. It's coming from Forsch's card. It's a pop fly double. And there are 2 outs, so that's going to score 2 runs. So 3 hits in a row for the Brewers. And they take a 2-0 lead here early. All right, man on second, 2 outs, and Gorman Thomas. It's a hard ground ball. Back to Bob Forsch. Over to Fernandez at first base for the 3rd out. And the side is retired, but the Brewers pick up 2 runs on 3 hits. 1 man left. We've played a half inning, and it's the Brewers 2 and the Cardinals 0. All right, Mike Caldwell, pitcher for the Brewers. First batter for St. Louis is second baseman Tom Herr. That's a choppy ground ball to second baseman Jim Gantner. To Cecil Cooper for the 1st out. So there's 1 away here in the bottom of the 1st. Brings up left fielder Lonnie Smith. And we're going to take a gamble. Bases are empty. And that's a doubles to center field. It rolls to the wall. Star 3 center fielder throws batter out at second, trying to stretch. Credit him with a single only. Well, Gorman Thomas is not a star. He is a he's a 2, but he's not a star anyway. So that is a 1-out double for Lonnie Smith. So the Cardinals have a man in scoring position with 1 out. Here in the bottom of the 1st, they trail 2-0. That brings up first baseman Keith Hernandez. Pitch from Caldwell. And luckily it's coming from Hernandez's card, but still not all that lucky because it's a bloop triple. And here we're going to get our alert check. Okay, so bloop triple says it's a triple, all runners score, but if the defense is alert, it's a pop fly double. Okay, so what we do is we take another gamble card and we look at the number there. Up in the upper right corner, it's a 46. If that number is equal to or less than the defensive points of the team on defense, then they are alert. Well, in this case, the Brewers are a 29. It's a 46. They are not alert. They are careless, and that is a triple for Keith Hernandez, which he hit into right center field. And it went back to the wall, and the Cardinals are on the board on Hernandez's 1-out triple. Lonnie Smith scores, and it's now 2-1. So, 1 out, man on third, George Hendrick. Brewers are keeping the defense normal. 7, and it's going to be a gamble. All right, man on third. It's a short single. Careless. Runners advance 1 base on right fielder's crazy throw for an error. So we're going to get another check. It's a 9. Upper right corner of the gamble card, so they are not careless. But it is a single for Hendrick that's going to score Hernandez. And the game is tied at 2. All right. That brings up DH Gene Tennis. He hits a hard ground ball to shortstop Robin Yount over to Cecil Cooper for the 2nd out. Oh, wait a second. Wait a second here. It was a sharp ground ball. That is a double play to end the inning. So that's a 6-4-3 double play. Hendricks forced at second for out number 2. And they get Tennis by a half step. And that's it for the Cardinals here in the bottom of the first. 2 runs on 3 hits. 1 man left. We've completed 1 inning, and we are tied at 2. All right, leading things off for the Brewers here in the top of the second is designated hitter Roy Howell. And it's coming from the batter's card, and it's a bloop triple into right center field. Howell leads things off with a sliding triple. So he's on third with nobody out. And right fielder Charlie Moore comes to the plate. And that's a single into left field. That's going to score Howell. And just like that, the Brewers take the lead again. All right, so nobody out, man on first. A lot of offense early on in this game. Brewers lead 3-2. Jim Gantner, second baseman. It's a pressure play. All right, against an alert team, pick a talent card. Against a careless team, pick an error card. Okay, the Cardinals have a 32, and it's a 23. They are an alert team for this particular play. So we're going to pick a talent card, and we get that the very next one. Okay, so we have a runner on first base. Okay. Strikeout and double play. Runner is out stealing. So Moore attempts to steal second base. Hold on a second. We got to do this check along with that. Batter with 7 line fly out on his card hits a foul ball, and that is what it is. So they try the hit and run, I guess, and Gantner fouls it off. Moore goes back to first base, and he's still there with 1 out. The next one is It's an 8. That's a hard ground out. And we got to check to see if the Cardinals are alert here, because it says runners advance 1 base if forced. Alert defense with runner on first, double play. And with 8, the Cardinals are alert. So that is going to become a... Got to see where he hit it. A 4-6-3 double play. Hurd to Smith to Hernandez. And that's outs 1 and 2. Okay, so 2 outs and nobody on. Back to the top of the order. Paul Molitor, he's 0 for 1. Brewers lead 3-2. Pitch from Forsch. And it's going to be a strikeout, but we'll flip the card just to keep the cards moving. And it's the first strikeout of the game. Forsch gets Molitor looking for the 3rd out. That's Forsch's first strikeout. But the Brewers do pick up a run to take the lead again. 1 run on 2 hits. And nobody left on. We've played an inning and a half, and it's the Brewers 3 and the Cardinals 2. Bottom of the 2nd, leading things off for St. Louis, catcher Darrell Porter. And that's a leadoff base hit for Porter. So he's on first, nobody out. And David Green comes to the plate. He's in center field today. Pitch from Caldwell. That's a sharp ground ball. That Green hits to Robin Yount, over to Jim Gantner and Cecil Cooper for the 6-4-3 double play. Just like that, there are 2 outs. Base is empty. 3rd baseman Ken Oberkfell. Pitch from Caldwell is a line ball, or a line drive, excuse me, hit into right field. And Moore gets to that one for out number 3. So the Cardinals, no runs on 1 hit. No one left on. We've played 2 innings, and it's the Brewers 3 and the Cardinals 2. Top of the 3rd, Robin Yount's first batter for Milwaukee. Pitch from Forsch. It's a leadoff single. A lot of offense early on in this one. So Yount's at first. Cecil Cooper comes to the plate. Gonna take a gamble. Runner on first. It's a walk as Umperal's batter checked his swing. Hard luck pitcher, which Forsch is not. He's a workhorse. He would get ejected for arguing. Tough pitcher, ask to get help, who then rules strikeout, but that's not the case here. So Cooper draws the walk. And Yount moves down to second base. So it's 1st and 2nd with nobody out. That brings up Ted Simmons. That is a sharp ground ball. Hit to second baseman Tom Herr. Over to Ozzie Smith. And then Keith Hernandez for the 4-6-3 double play. Outs number 1 and 2. So they get the force on Cooper at second, but that allows Robin Yount to move to third. So there's a man on third with 2 outs. And left fielder Ben Ogilvy. And here's a choppy ground ball. Back to Forsch, makes a nice play over to Keith Hernandez. The 1-3 put out, and Forsch gets himself out of the jam. No runs on 1 hit, 1 man left on. Played 2.5, and it's the Brewers 3 and the Cardinals 2. Leading things off for St. Louis will be shortstop Ozzie Smith. Pitch from Caldwell. Yeah, Smith gets a hold of this one. Sends it to deep center field. Corbin Thomas backs up to the track and makes the catch for out number 1. Back to the top of the order for St. Louis. Second baseman Tom Herr. He's 0 for 1. Here's the pitch. And that is a pop fly double into center field. So 1 out double for Tom Herr. He's on second. And Lonnie Smith comes to the plate. Smith is 1 for 1. Doubled and scored a run back in the first. Here's the pitch. He hits a high fly ball to center field. And let's see. Well, the runner's not on third, so we don't need to check that. Thomas makes the play out in center for the first out. If Herr was on third, we would have done an alert check to see if they were careless. If they were, he would have advanced and scored. He would have tagged up and scored, I guess. So anyway, Herr's on second base with 1 out, and Keith Hernandez. And that's a sharp ground ball. Hit to second baseman Jim Gantner. And he goes to first. Tommy Herr's going to hold at second. So a man on second with 2 outs. And right fielder George Hendrick. Hendrick is 1 for 1. And that is a short single. And he hits that one into left center field. And we're going to say that Ogilvy's going to make the play on that. So that's a single. Herr can attempt to score, so we got to check Ogilvy's arm rating, and maybe we'll use this. He's a 0, and Tommy Herr is a 2. Or excuse me, let me look at that again. No, Ogilvy's a 5. Excuse me, I was looking at his run rating. Okay, so let's look at this chart and see if we're going to send him, or if the third base coach is going to hold him up. Let's see. Where's that chart? I have it back here. Okay, challenges. If runner reaction table indicates a possible challenge and the offense attempts to advance, roll both dice. check these modifiers. Tommy Herr is daring, so he would get a +3 to the green die in our case. Double either modifier if there are 2 outs. And there are. So that would be a 6. And red die, we're going to add 5 to it. Add if defense rating is a star. That's only on infield. If runner is challenging for third on ball hit to outfield, +2 to left fielder, but Herr's trying to score. So we're going to send him. So Herr's going to get a +6 to the green die, and Ogilvy's going to get a +5 to the red die. And Tommy Herr's going to get in under that throw and tie this game up. And that doesn't address Hendrick tagging or moving to second. Let me see here. No, so he's going to hold it first. All right, but that was a good check on that, so we got to see how that works. All right, so this game is now tied. And it's a man on first for St. Louis with 2 outs. That's going to bring up DH Gene Tennis. Here's the pitch. And it's going to be a gamble. So we're going to look at first base. Runner steals and catcher throws, sails into center field for an error. Runner advances to third. Star catcher equals daring runner steals second base. Well, I don't think Simmons is not a star catcher. Okay, so that's an E2 as Hendrick steals second, moves to third. So the Brewers pick up an error there on Simmons. And that allows Hendrick to move to third. And Tennis's at bat continues. This game's tied at 3. Just a pitch. Short single with a question mark. They are not the both same-handedness. And that's going to give the Cardinals the lead as Hendrick comes in to score. So Gene Tennis with the 2-out RBI single. And the Cardinals lead 4-3. All right, Darryl Porter, 2 outs, man on first. Here's the pitch. And we got double 5s. It's going to come from Porter's card, and that is a short single. The Tennis is going to hold up at second, so we're not going to challenge on that. But now it's first and second with 2 outs. Cardinals have another runner in scoring position. And David Green, the center fielder, comes to the plate. Here's the pitch. And he hits a sharp ground ball to shortstop Robin Yount over to Cecil Cooper. And that's going to be it for the Cardinals here in the bottom of the third. But they score 2 runs on 4 hits. 2 men left on. And after 3 innings of play, it's the Cardinals 4 and the Brewers 3. Go to the top of the 4th. Leading things off for Milwaukee is center fielder Gorman Thomas. Here's the pitch. And that is a high fly ball to center fielder David Green. And he's under that. Makes the catch for out number 1 here in the top of the 4th. Brings up DH Roy Howell. He's 1 for 1 with a run scored. Here's the pitch. And we're going to be taking a gamble. Bases are empty. It's a short single. Third baseman is fast. Or, excuse me, short single to third base. Faster daring batter to second as third baseman's hurried throw in the dirt bounces away from the first baseman for an E5. Well, he's not faster daring, so it is just a short single. So Hal's on first with 1 out, and right fielder Charlie Moore. Pitch. That's an infield line out. And let's see if St. Louis is... Well, first let's see where the line out is. It's back to pitcher Bob Forsch. And let's see if St. Louis is alert. That's a 30. They are 32, so they are alert here. So this is a potential double play. So let's see. Infield line out. Alert defense may attempt to force out runner. Roll both dice. Got a 7. If red die and star of initial fielder, which Force does not have a star, is greater than the white die, the runner is out. So they catch Hal sleeping over at first base. So that's a line out to 1, and then he's doubled off first base. And that's it for the Brewers here in the top of the 4th. So we're getting to see some special plays in this, which is a good thing. See how the mechanics work for the game. So anyway, no runs, 1 hit. Nobody left on. And after 3.5, it's St. Louis 4 and Milwaukee 3. Leading things off for the Cardinals here in the bottom of the 4th is Ken Oberkfell. And that's going to be a strikeout either way, but we'll flip the gamble card. And that's strikeout number 1 for Caldwell. And there's 1 away. Shortstop Ozzie Smith. And that's a 1 out single for Smith that he hits into left field. So Smith is on first with 1 out. Cardinals lead 4-3 here in the bottom of the 4th. Back to the top of the order, and Tom Herr, he is 1 for 2 with a run scored. This time he hits a chop ground ball to shortstop Robin Yount. And they're going to get the force on Smith at second for out number 2. And Herr's going to reach on a fielder's choice. So Herr's on first with 2 away. And left fielder Lonnie Smith comes to the plate. He's 1 for 2 with a run scored. It's a slow ground ball back to Caldwell, over to Cooper, and that's it for the Cardinals here in the 4th. So no runs, 1 hit, 1 man left on. We've completed 4 innings, and it's the Cardinals 4, the Brewers 3. Top of the 5th, leading things off is second baseman Jim Gantner. Gantner's 0 for 1, hitting to a double play back in the 2nd inning. He hits a pop fly ball to center field that drops in front of David Green and gets by him, and Caldwell's going to get to second base. Or excuse me, Gantner. Gantner's going to get to second base on a leadoff double. So he's in scoring position with nobody out. And Paul Molitor, who's 0 for 2, comes to the plate. It's a pitch from Forsch. And let's see, a chopped ground out. That ball's hit to second baseman Herr. And let's see, Gantner's going to hold, and it's going to be a 4-3 put out. Herr to Hernandez for the first out. Gantner still on second. Brings up Robin Young. Brewers trail 4-3. Pitch to Young. That's a single. It's going to tie this game up. He hits that ball into left field. And we are tied at 3. Excuse me, 4. As Gantner comes in to score. So man on first with 1 out. And first baseman Cecil Cooper. Tied at 4 here in the top of the 5th. That's a sharp ground ball. Second baseman Tommy Herr. Over to Ozzie Smith, back to Keith Hernandez for the 4-6-3 double play to end things here in the top of the 5th. But the Brewers do pick up a run on 2 hits, 1 man left. And after 4.5, we are tied at 4. Bottom of the 5th, Caldwell will face Keith Hernandez to start things off here. Hernandez is 1 for 2 with a run scored. Here's the pitch. And hard ground ball back to Caldwell, over to Cooper for the 1-3 put out. And there's 1 away here in the bottom of the 5th, all tied up at 4. Right fielder George Hendrick, he is 1 for 3 with a run scored. He hits a hard ground ball. Back to Caldwell. And just like the last one, over to Cecil Cooper, and there are 2 away. 2 outs, nobody on for Gene Tennis. Pitch from Caldwell. And that's a 2-out single. That's the second hit for Tennis in this game. So makes his turn, but he's going to hold at first base. And that brings up catcher Darrell Porter. Porter's 2 for 2. Pitch from Caldwell. That's a slow ground ball. Third baseman Paul Molitor over to Cecil Cooper. And that's it for the Cardinals. In the 5th, no runs. 1 hit. 1 man left. We've played 5, and we are tied at 4. I didn't mention it, but the fatigue inning here in the 80s is 7. Now, the rules of 5 for... I'm still using the rules of 5 for time travel baseball, so that would preclude waiting to the 7th inning if we get to that point. All right, so we're going to the top of the 6th, all tied up at 4. Both starting pitchers are still in the game. We don't have to start doing fatigue checks until the 7th inning for this era. However, if the rules of 5 come into play, then we'll do it earlier. All right, so here's the pitch. And that's a slow ground ball to second baseman Tom Herr. Over to Keith Hernandez, and there's 1 away here in the top of the 6th. Simmons grounds out, brings up left fielder Ben Ogilvy, who is 1 for 2. He gets under this one, sends it out to right field. George Hendrick is under that, makes the catch, and there are 2 away. So 2 outs, nobody on for the Brewers, and Gorman Thomas comes to the plate. Pitch from Forsh. Sharp ground ball hit to Ozzie Smith over to Keith Hernandez, and for maybe the first time in the game, the Brewers go 1, 2, 3. No runs, no hits, no one left on. 5.5 played, and we're tied at 4. All right. Bottom of the 6th. Leading things off for the Cardinals is center fielder David Green. And we're taking a gamble. Nobody on base. It's a single to shortstop. Batter takes second on poor throw for an error. If the shortstop is a star, which Yount is, turns the hit into a chopped ground out. All right, so there we see how the star rating for a fielder comes into effect. So Green is robbed of a hit by a good play from Robin Yount, and 6-3 put out as he throws over to Cecil Cooper, and there's one away. And that brings up Ken Oberkfell. Pitch. He hits a line drive, into center field. Gorman Thomas doesn't even have to move to make a play on, and there are 2 away. Ozzie Smith comes to the plate, hits a hard ground ball. Second baseman Jim Gantner over to Cecil Cooper, and the Cardinals return to favor and go 1, 2, 3. No runs, no hits, no one left on. We've played 6 innings, and we are tied at 4 here in the game 1 of the 1982 World Series. Okay, now we've gotten to the 7th inning, and we have to do a fatigue check for Bob Forsh. He is an A-rated pitcher. And I'm going to flip this gamble card. It is a pitcher's, looks like Pete Vukovich, excuse my stutter. Anyway, it's a green image, or a red image. So Forsh is not fatigued. And that's how that works, unless the rule of 5s come into play, which they have not yet. Both teams have only scored 4 runs. All right, so leading things off is, at the top of the 7th, is DH Roy Howell. And he hits a high fly ball to left center field. David Green, under that, makes the catch, and there is 1 out here in the top of the 7th. Brings up Charlie Moore, right fielder for Milwaukee, and he is 1 for 2. Just a pitch. It's going to be a gamble card coming off of Bob Forsh. Nobody on base. High fastball ripped to opposite field for a home run. If pitcher's salary is higher than the batter's salary, batter strikes out. Well, Forsh has got a $sign. Charlie Moore has none. And that means, it's a strikeout. So this is interesting that we're getting a lot of the nuances in the mechanics for time travel baseball in this game. That's just some extra situations that you're getting to see here, which is awesome. Okay, so 2 outs, nobody on, and Jim Gantner comes to the plate. Pitch from Forsh. It's a pressure play. Against an alert team, pick a talent card. Against a careless team, pick a gamble card. Let's see. So St. Louis is 32. This number is a 1, so they are alert. And we pick a talent card. There's nobody on. So that is a single into left center gap. Daring batter turns it into a double. Gantner's not daring, but he's fast. And a star shortstop turns the play into an infield lineout. And, of course, Ozzie Smith is an all-time great shortstop. So that is a line out to Smith that robs Gantner of a hit. And that's out number 3. And once again, the Brewers go in order. No runs, no hits, no one left on. As we go to stretch them, we're tied at 4. All right, I'm going to take a sip of my Orange Crush, and I'm going to do a fatigue check on Mike Caldwell, just like we did on Forsch. All right, so we're getting a batter's image. So Caldwell is fatigued. He is an A pitcher. So we got to bring that card out. And we're going to get some action in Milwaukee's bullpen. So Caldwell gets the grade A fatigue card. And just in case he gets in trouble, we're going to get some action in Brewers bullpen. And that's going to be, let's see. It's going to be Jim Slayton. It's going to be warming up for Milwaukee here in the bottom of the 7th. Top of the order for St. Louis, Tom Herr. And he is 1 for 3 with a run scored. Pitch from Caldwell is a single. And that ball is hit past third baseman Paul Molitor into left field. Herr makes the turn, but he's going to hold at first. And he does have the plus sign. So he has a good lead here, but I don't think we're going to try to steal. I don't think so. Nope, we're not going to try to steal. But we are going to try hit and run. So let's see how that works out here. Got to get the card. Got the hit and run card here. And we get a 6 coming off of the, it's a high fly out. So there's no change. So it's a high fly out. To center field, Gorman Thomas. Smith gets back to first base. And there's one away. So enough of that. Keith Hernandez. 1 out, man on first. It's a chop ground ball. To third baseman Paul Molitor. They're going to get the force on her at second for the second out, and Hernandez is going to reach on the fielder's choice. So he's there with 2 away. And George Hendrick. Pitch from Caldwell. It's coming from the batter's card. Hendrick lines this one right at shortstop Robin Yount for out number 3. And that's it for the Cardinals. No runs, 1 hit, 1 man left on. Played 7 and we're tied at 4. All right, so top of the 8th. Forsch has got to do another fatigue check. Pitcher's image, he is still not fatigued. And he's going to face the top of the order for Milwaukee here with Paul Molitor. Molitor hits a ground ball hard at Ozzie Smith. over to Keith Hernandez, and there's one away. Brings up Robin Yount. Pitch from Forsch. And Yount gets a hold of this one and sends it to left field. Lonnie Smith back to the track, to the wall. It's way up, out of here, gone. And the Brewers take a 5-4 lead, and that is the 5th run given up by Forsch. So he has to do another fatigue check, and he is, of course, now fatigued. So we have to get a card out for him. And there's going to be action in St. Louis bullpen, and it's Jim Cott. So we're tied at, or excuse me, the Brewers take a 5-4 lead. And there's one out. Gets quiet here at Busch Stadium. Cecil Cooper, next batter. He hits a hard ground ball. And it's back to Forsch. Over to Keith Hernandez for out number 2. So 2 outs, nobody on. And catcher Ted Simmons. Pitch. Here's a bouncer. That goes back to Forsch, and he makes a good play on that. Throws over to Hernandez again. And that's it for the Brewers, but they do pick up a run on Robin Yount's blast. It's 1 run on 1 hit. No one left on. And after 8.5, it's the Brewers 5 and the Cardinals 4. And warming up for the Brewers right now is Rollie Fingers. Okay, Caldwell's still in the game, at least for right now, but we got to do a fatigue check on him. And he is going to be fatigued, so he's changing to a grade B fatigued pitcher now. And his day is probably just about done. All right, so Caldwell's now grade B. Take the A card away from him and see if he can get through this batter. Or actually, since it's the start of the inning, we're going to switch him out. Rollie Fingers is going to go for the 6-out save here. All right, so the new pitcher for the Brewers is Rollie Fingers. He is a workhorse reliever. So that's it for Caldwell. But in 1982, Rollie Fingers was 5-6 with 29 saves. He had a 2.6 ERA, 79.2 innings pitched. All right, so, and he is a 1, so that doesn't change anything defensively. He's a 1. He's a grade B pitcher. And he's a righty. Okay, so leading things off for the Cardinals here in the bottom of the 8th is Gene Tennis. Now, with them both being same-handedness, I believe Fingers can use the shutout card for this first batter. But St. Louis is going to pinch hit for Tennis. And it's going to be Willie McGee, switch hitter. So he's going to bat from the left side. All right, so Tennis is done. And Willie McGee is now the pinch hitter. Or excuse me, the designated hitter. Here in the bottom of the 8th. All right, so the first batter that Raleigh Fingers is going to face is Willie McGee. Here's the pitch from Fingers. And that's a leadoff single. So McGee's the tying run on first. Nobody out. Darryl Porter comes to the plate. Pitch from Fingers. It's a high fly ball to center field. And Gorman Thomas is under that for out number 1. David Green. Pitch from Fingers. And Green gets a hold of this one and sends Gorman Thomas back to the track where he makes the catch for out number 2. 2 outs, man on first, and Ken Oberkfell. Pitch from Fingers. And we're taking a gamble. Got a runner on first base. It's a hard ground out to second. All right, but we got to check to see if Milwaukee is careless or alert. They are 29. It's a 21. They are alert. So the rest of the text does not apply. And it is a hard ground out to Gantner, over to Cooper. And after giving up that leadoff single to Willie McGee, Raleigh Fingers gets out of the potential jam. And the Cardinals have no runs on 1 hit, 1 man left on. And after 8 innings of play, it's the Brewers 5 and the Cardinals 4. All right. New pitcher for St. Louis is Jim Cott. So we'll get him out here. Heck is he? There he is. 1982, Jim Cott was 5-3. He also had 2 saves, with a 4.08 ERA in 75 innings. He is a 1, so that doesn't change St. Louis's defense. He is a B grade pitcher, and he throws from the left. And he can use the shutout card, because the Brewers aren't going to counter here. And let's see where the shutout card is. Just for this first batter. All right. So pitch from Cott. It's a hard ground ball to Ken Oberkfell, over to Keith Hernandez. And there's 1 away here in the top of the 9th. Next batter is Gorman Thomas. Pitch from Cott. Low and outside. Thomas trots down to first base with the 1-out walk. So man on first, 1 away. And DH Roy Howell. Short single with a question mark. They're both lefties. And that's a strikeout for out number 2. First strikeout for Cott. And there are 2 away. Brings up right fielder Charlie Moore. Pitch from Cott. And Moore hits a hard ground ball to First baseman Keith Hernandez, he's going to take that unassisted. And that's it for the Brewers here in the top of the ninth. No insurance runs, no runs on 1 hit, 1 man left. We've played 8.5, and the Brewers lead this one 5-4. So Jim Cott did come out and keep this within striking distance. Raleigh Fingers is going for the 6-out save, and he is 3 outs away from that. Leading things off for the Cardinals is Ozzie Smith. Pitch. And he hits a line drive to center fielder Gorman Thomas. And that's the first out here in the bottom of the ninth. So 1 out, nobody on. Back to the top of the order for St. Louis and Tommy Herr. He's batting from the left side here. And he hits a line drive right at second baseman Jim Gantner. And the Cardinals are down to their last out. Two outs, nobody on. Lonnie Smith. Milwaukee leads 5-4. Here's the pitch. Let's take a gamble. Nobody on base. Ground out to third base. If the third baseman is a 0-1, he waves at the ball that hops over his glove into left field for a double. But Molitor is a 0. How about that? Cardinals are still alive. Bad hop over Molitor's glove, and Lonnie Smith is in scoring position with 2 outs. And Keith Hernandez coming to the plate. Pitch from Fingers. And he gets Hernandez to ground this one to Robin Yount. Over to Cecil Cooper. And that's it. Brewers take one in St. Louis by a score of 5-4. They're in the bottom of the ninth. The Cardinals, no runs, 1 hit, 1 man left on. Let's get some quick totals here. Brewers, 5 runs on 11 hits. They did commit an error. The Cardinals, 4 runs on 13 hits. No errors. Winning pitcher is Mike Caldwell. Raleigh Fingers gets the save. And the loss goes to Bob Forsch. So that's it for this one. Hey, it turned out really well, I think, because we got to see a lot of the lesser-known mechanics with time travel baseball. But that's going to do it for this episode. If you hung out with me, I appreciate it. I'll be back again in the near future with another video. And remember, Happy New Year. And until the next time, take care.